If you allow them to buy what they want to buy, then you can never take it personally when they don't buy it because it's got nothing to do with you. They're walking in with a problem. They're looking for a way to have a better future by resolving that problem. And when you give them an opportunity to resolve the problem to get a better future, what they're effectively saying when they say no is, I don't value my future enough to hire your firm to help me get that better future.
You're listening to the Profit First for Lawyers podcast, the official companion show to the book Profit First for Lawyers by RJon. Now, this podcast is for you if you want to bring home more profit while working less hours in the office, spending more time with your loved ones doing the things you actually want to do, and turning your office into a lean, mean, profit-breathing machine. So if you're tired of working for your law firm instead of your law firm working for you, stay tuned for some really practical insights that will get you the results you've always wanted. It's time to put your BS aside for the next few minutes and put yourself, your family, your firm, and your profit first. Welcome back to another episode of the Profit First for Lawyers podcast. I'm your host, Carly, and today we're kicking off a 4-part series covering one of the most popular topics that law firm owners like to research and also usually hate, sometimes with a fiery, burning passion. The dreaded sales call. But not to worry, folks, because for this episode, part 1, I got to sit down with our very own sales expert, Tania, and she broke down the sales process in such a brilliant and approachable way that you might actually start to really love sales after this. But before we roll the interview, I found this amazing clip from an event that we held in October 2022, where RJon helped our members think through what it is that they're actually selling. Spoiler alert, it might not be what you think it is. Let's roll the clip.
7, you take things personally. And the number one reason you take things personally is usually because you're selling the wrong thing. This is a very simple mechanical thing to solve. I don't know why everyone has such a hard time implementing it. I think it's ego, maybe self-esteem. It's very, very simple. You are all selling the same thing. Family law attorneys, you're selling the same thing as bankruptcy attorneys. Bankruptcy attorneys, you're selling the same thing as immigration attorneys. Immigration attorneys, you're selling the same thing as real estate attorneys. Real estate attorneys, you're selling the same thing as intellectual property attorneys. Y'all get the idea? Who wants to bet that there's someone in this audience who's dying to raise their hand and say, but RJon, what about? Yeah, you're selling the same thing too, and so am I, right? We're all selling the same thing because everyone's coming to us to buy the same thing. Everyone's coming to us to buy a better future. That's all they want. And if you're trying to sell your credentials and they reject your firm, oh my God, they've rejected my credentials. And if you're trying to sell your experience and they don't value their future enough to buy your services, then you take it as a rejection of your experience. And if you're trying to sell how brilliant you are and they don't value their future enough to make an investment in your services, then, oh my God, maybe it's because I'm not so brilliant. But if you allow them to buy what they want to buy, there's that need to be right again. If you allow them to buy what they want to buy, then you can never take it personally when they don't buy it because it's got nothing to do with you. They're walking in with a problem. They're looking for a way to have a better future by resolving that problem. And when you give them an opportunity to resolve the problem to get a better future, what they're effectively saying when they say no is, I don't value my future enough to hire your firm to help me get that better future. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with you. Now, when you can go into a sales call and not take it personally when they say no, when you can have like sincere empathy for the person, When you can look at the person who says, no, I'm not going to engage your services to help me and my family have a better future, and really, truly, sincerely feel bad for them, your close rate is going to go through the roof. Not just on each individual sale. That's not going to change the person who doesn't value their future. They don't value their future. That's a tragedy. But the next day, you're not going to come in all beat up. And the next week, you're not going to come in all beat up. And the next month, you're not going to come in all beat up. Because every time someone says, no, I don't value my future enough to let you help me grow my business or get out of an unhappy relationship or protect my future or whatever with an estate plan. I don't value myself enough to buy your services. Man, I feel so bad for this person that they have such low self-esteem. I feel so bad for this person that they don't see a bright enough future for themselves that they're willing to make an investment in it. I mean, that's literally exactly what I think every time someone doesn't engage how to manage. Because, the proof that what we do works is overwhelming, right? And every quarter, we get prospective new members who are like, I'm not going to do this. Really? It comes with 100% money back guarantee. You're not going to go through a 4-week virtual boot camp from home to get a free sample. Really? You're not going to come to a live discovery day that comes with a 100% money back guarantee that could potentially change the future trajectory of your whole family's life for generations. Wow. What must have happened in this person's life that they have so little self-respect and value themselves so little? That's literally what goes through our mind. And that's not to be an asshole. It's just what else could I possibly think? That it's got something to do with me? They've never met me. What could I think? That they've never even worked with us before. They have no idea what we're all about. So how could I possibly take it personally? Are you understanding where I'm going with this? Number 8, lots of salespeople self-sabotage because of fear of success. You get a salesperson who's never made more than $100,000 a year, and you can bet exactly where they're going to stop selling. You know where it's going to be? When they get to $100,000 a year. If you want them to sell 100 widgets, and you're willing to give them $1,000 per widget, and they've made $100,000, that's great. But if you want them to sell 200 widgets, and you're willing to give them $1,000 per widget, and they could potentially make $200,000, you better make sure you only give them $500 a widget. Because they're going to stop when they get to $100,000. Because most people are more afraid of success than they're afraid of failure. Most of you are more afraid of success than you are of failure. This is not the time or the place to explore that, but I promise you it's true. Write it down, think about it. Number 9, you allow outside distractions to interfere with your sale. And you got to understand, a lot of these distractions are being caused by your subconscious, and a lot of these distractions are being caused by your prospect, whose own subconscious is getting triggered by the possibility of making a massive change in their life so they can have a better future, which is unfamiliar to them. So they're getting triggered. You've got to stay focused. What are we here to do? I'm in service of my prospect. I'm not going to allow all kinds of other shit to distract me. And last and not least, there's no strategy. There's no sales strategy. There's no sales system. There's no sales methodology. It's just a simple mechanical problem that no one ever taught you how to sell, and set up a sales process. Throughout the day today, session 2, session 3, we're going to teach you step by boring ass step, which, by the way, is exactly what is going to be a problem for some of you. Some of you are going to get distracted because you want to get a thrill, and you're going to mentally check out of the lesson. Don't do that. Stay focused on the prize.
Stay focused on the prize. Now, keep that in mind as we speak with Tanya and go through the sales process that How to Manage a Small Law Firm actually uses every day to generate millions of dollars ethically, reliably, consistently, year after year after year. This is going to be a good one, folks, I promise. Let's take a look. Tanya, welcome to the show. I am so excited to have you here today.
I am glad to be here. We've had a couple of tries. I'm thrilled it finally worked out.
All right, for those in the audience who don't know who you are yet, let's give them a little bit of a primer, kind of how you got started on this career path and what made you kind of fall in love with sales.
This career path, I've been in business development and personal development for 20 plus years. It happened by accident and I kind of stuck with it. I never intended to fall in love with sales. I didn't do it intentionally, but I love helping people and I'm a busybody. So I know a bunch of stuff because I'm a busybody. And just even as a young girl, people be like, "Oh, I need this." I'd be like, "Hey, I know this person who can help you," because I just want to help people. And so that developed naturally into a career in sales because that's what sales is. And so I've been selling, I mean, since I was a Girl Guide, but I've been professionally in sales. It was my very first job before I even finished school. I was still going to school to become a teacher and for human resources. And in between, I got a job doing sales and I just stuck with it for apparently 20 odd years.
You know, that's so funny to me. I don't know if you know, Tanya, but my first job out of college, I actually was recruited to do sales. And while I was really good at it, I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Um, and I feel like there was I don't know, there was almost a block for me when it came to sales because I felt like it was something that I was pressuring people rather than like the most loving thing you can do for them, which obviously is what RJon says about sales. How has your mindset shifted since starting to work with RJon as far as your relationship to sales goes?
I think the great thing is RJon and I have always had very similar opinions about sales. So when I was in university and I was like, okay, well, I'm doing sales, I got a job, and some people will laugh because it's amazing how many people have done this, selling knives. So I'm like a 21-year-old little girl selling knives, and I'm talking like one knife was hundreds of dollars in the 90s, right? Yeah, so like a whole set was thousands of dollars in the 90s. And all of my friends have now been gifted knives from their parents because I sold every one of their parents. That job taught me a lot about the techniques of sales, the very technical intonation and how to frame a sentence. I hated that job. I mean, don't get me wrong, I made a lot of money. I hated that job because I don't truly believe anybody needs to spend thousands of dollars on knives. And sorry to any chefs out there or any spouses of chefs. Unless you're a chef, I don't see the need for that. Helping connect people with the tools they need, how can that not be an act of love, right? And so when I met RJon, we were already so aligned on that. I think it's one of the reasons he invited me into this community and into our team is because of that alignment, of just understanding that sales is right. Sale is a four-letter word, but it's the good kind. So is love, right? It's just sales is if you had a good friend who called you crying or called you complaining or is like, my life is so hard because, and you had this magic solution over here, would you tell them about it? Of course you would, because you care about them. That is truly what sales is. The problem is cars, car dealerships, the idea the horrible, sleazy, secondhand salesperson who would sell a car to a 16-year-old girl with her last dimes and laugh as she drove off the lot and the muffler fell out. That's what people equate sales to. And that's not sales. That's called being a con person or a con man. And that's not what sales is. And so listen, I know the word sale is still a ew word to so many people, and so even our own sales team here at How to Manage a Small Law Firm, I refer to them as relationship managers because that's what they are. Right. And so, anyways, how's my mindset? Your question was, how's my mindset changed about sales since meeting RJon? In part, he's really given me a vocabulary to speak to something I intuitively felt and did. And I could never explain to somebody why true sales is not what I was doing with knives. True sales is what I get to do here every day. And he gave me the vocabulary to explain that. And I think that's probably been the biggest change is he validated what I do.
Oh, I really like that. Tanya, can you give me what then is the proper definition of a true sale?
When I teach sales classes, I always talk about this. Any sales conversation, all a sale is me taking you through a conversation, helping you clarify what it is you actually want. Because most of us don't take the time to think about it, right? And especially when you're talking to lawyers. Like, who do you know who walks into a lawyer's office and isn't already kind of activated, right? Like, no one goes to a lawyer. I never wake up on a Monday or a Tuesday and go, I don't want to go visit my lawyer. Like, friends with my lawyer, right? And I still would never do that because most people don't go to a lawyer because they're happy and excited. So it's even harder and they're not thinking clearly. Your job as a salesperson is simply me taking you through and helping you think about what it is you truly, truly want. And then if I'm able to, giving you solutions to move forward. And actually always giving you solutions to move forward, but whether they're with me or without me. I have said no to people. I've had people who want to join how to manage, and I did not truly believe that it's what they wanted or that they were committed to it. And so I've said, you know what? I don't think we're the right fit for you. Which is crazy, right? I'm a salesperson and I'm telling someone, go somewhere else. But, sales have to be profitable for both parties. And I think everybody knows, hopefully if they've read the book, everyone knows profit, right? It's when I get something I value more in exchange for something I value less. And so sales is still about that. It's about both parties being profitable. That's why the dude in the car lot isn't really a salesperson because the girl the 16-year-old who drives away in the car falling apart, she's not profitable.
Mhm.
I mean, she will not be for more than a second. And he knows that. I can't promise every single person I've sold something to has used it in a way to achieve what we both thought they could. I cannot make that guarantee. But I 100% know that in the moment that I sold it to them, I truly believed I was giving them a resource that would help them achieve what they wanted. And when you think about sales being that, then it must be one of the most noble things you can do.
Tanya, that's so powerful. I really resonate with that because I do think that it's such a mental shift between what we do think of sales as, which is kind of the sleazy car salesman. I mean, no offense to all car salesmen. I'm sure there are some that aren't that way, but that's kind of what we think of, right? We think of, well, at least I do. I think of the movie Matilda and Matilda's dad at the car lot putting sawdust in the engine. you know.
And I do actually, every time I do training with somebody who used to be in sales, or who used to be in car sales, I'm like, I'm going to apologize right now, but most of my jokes are going to center around you for the next couple of days. Just, sorry. And it's something that's difficult to break. Even here, our team, when we get people who come from a sales background, they're so focused on make the close, make the close, make the close. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Help them find the next step. Now, don't get me wrong,
Oh.
right? But help them find the next step. That's it. Hopefully it's with us. But if it's not, it's not. And I would
Oh.
that's what we're doing.
I love that. Now, Tanya, I know that you are not only do you oversee and manage our sales team in-house at How to Manage a Small Law Firm, but you also teach the sales workshops or several of them for the membership. Can we pivot a little bit into for our audience who are primarily made up of law firm owners? How can they take some of this philosophy to improve their sales process? What does that look like for the average law firm?
First thing is, if you're a lawyer and you're building your business, please plan to get out of sales. Lawyers are notoriously bad at sales. I just insulted your entire audience, didn't I?
No, tell me more.
Because lawyers are, with good heart, they just jump into problem solving mode, right? So they have a consult and they're like, you sit down and you're like, hey, so, I want to divorce my husband, who I'm not actually even married to, but we're common law and I want a divorce. And they launch into, okay, so we're going to sit down and this affidavit and let me get this. And they're in legalese. And I don't know what any of it means. Number one, no idea what it means. But number two, they haven't even really figured it out, because what they're going to find out is in 2 weeks, I'm going to be like, oh, we just had a fight. It's fun. We're going to go to counseling. They haven't taken the time. So they're wasting their time because lawyers naturally jump in to problem solving mode and they get into the weeds, right? They show you what's behind the curtain. So the first thing is just plan to get a salesperson in place. It's also not the highest and best use of their time. But if you have a salesperson, or even if you're doing it yourself, one, slow down. Get curious again. And it sounds silly, but you want to get better at sales, watch children. But why? But why? But why? But why? Children get to the truth of the matter because they don't take your first answer. In a sales consult, not in a sales call, let's call it a consult. In a consult, when somebody comes in and they're like, this is my problem, get curious. How exactly did you get here? What have you already tried to do to change your situation? What do you really want? If I had a magic wand, bing, what does your future look like in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? If we get curious about that and we talk about and we help them see what's possible on the other side, that is how you have a sale conversation that even if they don't hire you, they're going to walk away from you better, right? Every sales conversation, no matter the result, should leave the prospect or the potential new client better, with greater clarity, with more understanding, with something to consider. So if you're doing your own sales, slow down and get curious. Forget for a second that you're a lawyer and just pretend you're talking to, it's easier for women, pretend you're talking to your girlfriend and skip over the, oh, I'm going to go kill that man, and be like, how do you feel? Well, what happened? Well, why did this happen? Well, what did you do? All those annoying questions, get into it. But it's just slow down and get curious.
Slow down, get curious. You had 3 specific questions that I wanted to highlight, right? Which was number 1, how did you get here? Number 2, what have you already done to try to fix this? And number 3, what would your future like if I could magically solve your problem today?
Yeah. There's more to it. We literally, in our sales program, and I still group it into 4 parts because that's how my brain works.
Mhm.
But there are 18 steps to every sales conversation. They're all the same.
18.
18. So it starts, says, hi, Carly, this is Tania calling from How to Manage a Small Law Firm. I have scheduled for an hour right now. Does this time still work for you? So we do this whole introduction where what we're doing is, one, clarifying, because how irritating is it when you're in the middle of a consult and it's going to take you an hour to do your consult, or it's going to take you half an hour to do your consult, but the person you're speaking to actually only has 15 minutes. And so you're just about to get to and they're like, oh, gotta go, right? And this has happened to me so many times. I call somebody for a consult, for a sales call. I'm like, hey, is this still a good time to talk? And they're like, and I'm like, whoa, okay, clearly not. Stop. What is going on?
Mm.
And right, because if you have somebody who's distracted, you can't sell them. You can't help somebody think about what they want if they're dealing with this. And lawyers are busy. So, and clients are busy. So, like, take a beat. In doing this, we're also creating trust, right? We're showing them that we're here and we're present. So we go through an opening where we set the time, we confirm the time, we let them know that they can talk to us openly. You might not have client attorney privilege yet, and dear lawyers, please don't define privilege to them. It's as simple as this. Our conversation today is between us. For me to help you the best, I need you to be fully honest. So I want you to feel comfortable and know that this conversation is confidential. And if you choose to work with our firm, it will be in your file so you don't have to repeat yourself, but it won't leave the firm. Oh, well, A, you're not just telling me something for no reason. You're telling it to me because it's for my benefit, right? I can help you the best. I need you to be honest. Cool, great. And I'm asking your permission. Okay, yeah, of course. And then, hey, as much as confidential, so I don't make you repeat yourself, are you comfortable if I take notes or if I record this? So that if you choose to work with our firm, the attorney and the paralegal will be able to listen to it and you don't have to repeat yourself. Again, the benefit is for you. And so in sales, you're always sort of helping them see the benefit because when we're activated, we don't make that connection ourselves, right? That's the opening, but that right there was actually 4 different points, right? Confirm the time and duration of the call, confirm that it's confidential, confirm the permission to take notes, and then set an agenda. To make the best use of your time, would you be comfortable if I set an agenda for us today? Why, yes, I would, right? No one's going to say no. And then they're like, oh, you asked my permission. And then you're like, great, I'm going to get some basic information for you, just really quick stuff so I have an understanding of your situation. Then we're going to dive into what it is that brought you in today. We'll look at the problem you're having and some of the solutions where you want to end up. And then based on everything you share with me, we'll look at a couple of possible solutions to move forward. How's that sound? Am I missing anything? Everyone's like, no, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't even have a problem to go into a law firm with, and I'm already very at ease. I'm over here like, whoo, you're not even talking to me specifically.
We want people to be, right? Like, I don't have to be a lawyer to understand that, I don't know, it's crappy to think about writing your will. I don't have to be a lawyer to know that when you're getting a trademark or an IP application for something you've invented, it's like exciting and terrifying and it's your chance for a different future. I don't have to be a lawyer to know that getting charged with an offense that could make you lose your license and lose your job and lose your family is terrible. Like, you don't need to be a lawyer to understand how somebody's hopes or fears impact their life. And that's why a sales call can be done by non-lawyers and why sometimes lawyers aren't so good is because let's just get human. What is going on with you? And how can I help?
Oh, that's so beautiful. I wonder, Tanya, do you have a resource or something we might be able to share with the audience that kind of lists out those 18 steps?
I do. I don't think it's going to list out all 18. It'll be broken into 4, but it's going to list out the main ones. Absolutely, we do.
Amazing. Can I have that?
I mean, I have to look it up and send it to you, but absolutely we can.
No, do that later. Do that later. Let's pivot a little bit then to the non-attorney salesperson because I have heard more than one lawyer say that they're pretty sure it's unethical to have a non-attorney salesperson. And this is something that RJon has mentioned a little bit in Profit First for Lawyers too. But can we talk a little bit about the efficacy and the ethicalness, sure, of having a non-attorney salesperson?
Yeah. So listen, I don't even know why they think it's unethical. A sales consult is not a strategy session. So, and I love this because this is a good half-hour argument discussion, usually very passionate discussion at every sales training I do. Why is it not unethical? Because what you need to understand is what is the problem? Clearly, truly, what is the problem? What are all the details of it? And what are you hoping to achieve? I don't need to be a lawyer to figure that out. Where it would become unethical is if I, as a non-attorney, was like, oh, well, Carly, you are fighting with your landlord about your apartment. Let me advise you on the legal steps you can take.
Mm.
That's bullshit, right? I don't know. I don't even know what state you live in. I certainly don't know the laws. I'm up in Canada. Let me tell you, the laws are different. So that's unethical. But if what I do is take the time to talk to you as a human being and find out why you're having these fights and what you really want to achieve, what's unethical about that? I've given you no legal advice. I've just said, yeah, our firm is able to work with people like you and help them, or people in a situation similar to yours and help them. And then the next step is a strategy session. It's when the lawyer and the paralegal have taken all of these notes that your non attorney salesperson, or your dragon, as we call them, have taken for you and provided to you. And you look at them and you read through it and you're like, okay, this is the approach we'll take. At that moment, you can still say, oh no, hell no, we can't help this person. Great. We're just going to return their deposit. No harm, no foul. The only difference is the attorney didn't spend an hour finding out the details that let them know that this is not a case. Somebody else did. Right. And so it would be unethical for the salesperson who's not an attorney to give out legal advice. 100%. It would be unethical for an attorney not to review the note and determine and define a strategy. It would be unethical for an attorney to read your non-attorney salesperson's notes and be like, there's no case here, but keep the retainer and continue to represent them. All of those things would be unethical. But actually having someone who is better able to slow down and get curious about the person versus the legal aspects of a matter, I think is the only ethical way to do sales. Because I'm focused on you, not on the tools at my disposal to help you. I'm starting with you. So there's nothing unethical. Now, how do you compensate a dragon? There are 1,000 ways to compensate a dragon that fit within the bar rules. I'm not going to give advice because Canadian, non-lawyer. So I'm not going to give that advice, but there are 1,000 ways. I personally have helped hundreds of attorneys figure out how to pay their dragons that meet our obligations. When lawyers say it's unethical, either they misunderstand the law, or honestly, it's their ego. Being the only person who's able to do something feels really good.
Yeah.
But if you want to build a business, it stops you from growing. You are not scalable. You cannot replicate yourself. And so if you're not able to put other people in this role, then you're not going to be able to scale your business. And if you're truly trying to build a business that helps people, isn't that actually more unethical than whatever concern you have?
Ooh, now that's a whole nother viewpoint to this, I think is the most ethical thing you can do if you want to help as many people as possible. The most efficient, the best thing you can do is remove yourself from being the bottleneck and help more people, have more people in the door. And I think maybe this goes back a little bit too to what you said earlier, Tanya, which is that the vast majority of lawyers do not make good salespeople.
Carly, honest to God, we've had members who have hired retired lawyers to be their salespeople, and
Ooh.
and they'll bring them into my training. They'll be like, "This is my non-attorney salesperson." I'm like, a recovering lawyer is still a lawyer, okay? And I sit there and I work with them and I try really hard because listen, I have absolutely met some lawyers who are great at sales. And a lot of your viewers and your readers will be like, "Well, I do better than other people at selling." It's because they're more passionate about their business. I mean, listen, true story. I can't believe I'm admitting this publicly. RJon is better at sales than I am.
Ooh, that hurts.
It does. I mean, that much better. RJon is better at sales than I am. But you know what? I am way better at sales than RJon when RJon's on his boat. Or when
Mm. Mhm.
to his son, or when RJon is teaching a workshop. I'm better at sales than RJon when he's not selling. If you want to build your business, you have to not be the person doing all of the sales. Now I'm not talking to solos, to people who are starting out their business. Do your sales. You're going to learn so much about your business and doing it. So let's grain of salt and context, right? I'm not telling everyone to go out and hire a non-attorney salesperson this minute. But as you're scaling your business, you need to pull yourself out of sales and let someone else do it.
Oh, that is so good, Tanya. I feel like we got so many amazing nuggets on how to reframe the thought of sales, right? That it is one of the most loving things that you can do for your prospects, on how to approach the sales conversation, get out of the sausage factory, out of the details, out of the problem solving, right? And how to think about mm, other people who maybe can step into that role ethically, responsibly, and a lot more effectively than you can.
And let you build a business and help more people, which is what we all want to do,
Yeah. Help
right?
more people. That's awesome. Thank you so much for bringing this information, because I know not only for law firm owners, not only for lawyers, but for any business owner who approaches sales, sometimes this is the most complicated aspect because, it is one of the most touchy subjects because sales does kind of have a bad name. And so I think approaching it from this level of care and concern, and if I can help you, then I will, if you'll let me. And if I cannot help you, then I'm going to tell you that. And I'm going to advise you to go somewhere else to get, help for this particular problem, right? That we're not just going to do it for the sake of doing it, but it is about the people so that you can accomplish your mission, you as the business owner, to help as many people as possible.
Just think about this and teach your sales team this and remember this yourself. A client you're not really well suited to help becomes a difficult client.
Mm,
They're an F client. And so when you spend 80% of your time working with this one client who's not really a good match for you, you're not working with the clients who are, right? F clients will take 80% of your time. That's number one. Two, you're risking bad reviews. You're risking bad reputation, like for one client. Now you refer them out to someone because your F client is somebody's A client. I promise you. You refer them out to someone. A, they're going to be happy and get the help they need. And B, you're creating a relationship with another attorney who can give you work back in the future, right? So
mhm.
the benefit, everybody's benefited when you're honest. It's just people.
Everybody benefits more when you're honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. All right, Tanya, let me pivot just slightly. And let's talk about you for a moment. This is one of my favorite questions to ask people who come on the show. And it is, what's something that you have implemented sometime within the last year, last 12 months of your life, that has brought great profit to you? Where, of course, profit in this instance is defined as exchanging something you value less for something you value more. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial.
Professionally, we've put a sales manager in place under me so that I can look more at the strategy and work more closely with marketing and acquisitions and have a greater view on everything. Um, yeah, that's professionally. So that's given me a little bit more time. Last summer, I took a month off. I worked very hard to set up my team to run without me, and I took 30 days off to just refocus on the things that give me joy and happiness. And based on that, I changed my entire life. I moved. There's a boat involved to get to where I live now. Um, yeah, it my entire life. My partner has left his job. He is now my trophy husband. Um, oh, yeah, he introduced himself to the neighbors like that. It stuck. Um, so our entire life is completely different, because I made the space for myself to, have some self-care, and, that started a chain reaction, and this summer, my goal is to take a lot of three-day weekends to explore this coast that I've just moved my entire family to. Yeah.
Oh, that is so fabulous. Congratulations, Tanya.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
I
pretty awesome.
I know it was somewhat hard for us to have you gone for that long, not because of the work, but just because you add a lot of joy to our lives, and we like to talk to you.
Thanks.
Well, and obviously the quality of the work, but you did a really good job of setting yourself up. So we didn't need you, but we wanted you. I'm so glad that um, that seems to have been. I think Evelyn said this too, right? That the time away really was her catalyst to figuring out what her relationship with work looked like and her relationship with her family and how much more full the experience kind of made her life feel, and then how much more efficient she was when she came back to the office. And I was like, man, if that's not just a ringing endorsement for how much good can be accomplished by taking 30 days off with emergency access only, I don't know what is.
Right? It's why we harp on it so much, is because if you're not making time for you, why are you doing this? Nobody opened up their law firm. I promise you, not one of your viewers or reader said, you know what? I want to work harder and have less free time and be more stressed. I'm not doing that. Like, that conversation never happens. So you know what I mean? Take the time. And in that space is why RJon does work on the boat and on the office, is because sometimes you need to change your environment. You need to change where you are to really think. It's why when we do business plan workshops and stuff, we always encourage people to stay an extra day. Because when you're out of your office, when you're out of the day-to-day, when you don't have the bing, bing, ding, buzz email, right? A different part of your brain opens up and you're able to focus on your business and not in it. And I know everyone's heard us probably say that. I'm sure you've had every single person you've talked to say that. But it's, it makes a huge difference. Time and space for you is A, why you start your own business, and B, allows you to constantly create.
Yeah, and it is intensely profitable.
Yeah, very profitable.
Oh, Tania, thank you so much for your time today. This has been magical. If we have any other questions from the audience, are you willing to send us a short video that we can play for them?
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay, awesome. You heard it here first, folks. So if you have any additional questions for Tania, feel free to send me an email at podcast@profitfirstforlawyers.com. And I will make sure to get those to Tania, and we'll get some more magical sales Tania goodness. Hey, folks. Now, Tania did send me over that resource that she promised with the steps of our sales conversion process laid out for you in plain English. So if you want to snag that for free, it's on our website at profitfirstforlawyers.com/action. Now, the link is also in our show notes below in case you're driving. Okay, let's get back to the show. Sales is one of the most loving things that you can do for your prospects, if you're approaching it in the right way. Now, if you've always been secretly afraid or put off by sales, then I hope this episode has changed your mind a little bit. And if you love having sales calls, then I hope that Tanya's at least given you some food for thought to continue improving your process and making it even better. At the end of the day, we want you to be able to help as many people as you can and bring as much value to their lives as you possibly can. And if you believe that you can help a prospect, then the most loving thing you can do for them is to sell them your services. Sincerely. And that's what we've got for you today, folks. I hope this has been very helpful for you. And stay tuned next time as we continue the conversation in part 2. We'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Profit First for Lawyers. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, tell a friend. And visit profitfirstforlawyers.com/action to download the resources that are going to help you put these concepts to work for your law firm. Your future self will thank you for it, and we will see you next time.